A very good morning to my dear class 12 computer science students. Let us start our today's lecture. So we will continue within the chapter number 5, and today we are going to discuss a new topic, and that is very important, and that is to implement the CSV file with the Python. Okay, so for that we'll be doing few programs also. So before I start up with the program, I will explain the theoretical part of it so that we may understand the concept in a better way. Okay, so here I am with the theory part of this CSV files. So why do we need CSV files? Actually, CSV files, they are required to store the tabular data. Okay, sometimes we are dealing with such files that are storing the data in the tabular format, like we are storing the data in our spreadsheets or our databases. So if we are using such type of files, so we will be using CSV. CSV stands for comma separated values. Okay, so what the word comma indicates here, that the delimiter, okay, the delimiter is comma here, means that is going to separate the data that the user is about to enter with the help of comma. So each data the user is entering for to be entered in the tabular form will be separated through commas. Okay, so that is why it is known as comma separated values, and a function is there that will create an object to create the delimiter between the values that the user is about to enter. Okay, so we'll discuss about it later when that function will come. I'll tell you that this is the function that is putting this delimiter in between the data that user is entering. Okay, so by default the delimiter is your comma only, but we can add more delimiters like /t. Okay, tab means 5 spaces we want to give, colon means if we want to put separate the data with this particular sign. Pipe symbol can also be used to separate the data that user is entering, or we may use this semicolon also. By default comma will be there. Okay, and if you are not specifying, means if you will specify other than comma the delimiter name, that delimiter will separate out the data that the user is entering. Okay, so let us start it. Actually this CSV file, they are just similar to your text files, so you can apply the text files procedures on the CSV file also, and then you may split the values using the split function. But there is a better way, that CSV files, they are offering us a better way to handle the data. Okay, so we are using CSV file instead of text files. Okay, so now for implementing this CSV implementation in Python, we need a module, and the name of the module will be CSV module. So we need to import this module before we start doing the dealing with the CSV files. Okay, and this module will offer us two objects, or we can say functions also. It offers functions also. So basically now I'll be explaining about the objects. One is the reader object, another one is the writer object. So these objects will help us to read and write the content in the delimited form, like means whatever data we are writing, we will be putting, means the writer and the reader object, they will be putting a delimited sequence, like we have discussed. These are the delimiters. So like I am writing a name of the student, his marks and his class. So I am entering this content for a particular student, but it will be separated by these delimiters if we are storing it in CSV form. Okay, so there are many benefits of using the CSV format, and they are given here, that they are easier to create. CSV files, they are easier to create, they are preferred. Why? Because we can export and import the data very easily from the Excel or the databases with which we are going to create the connectivity. Next is capable of storing the large amount of data. So we can handle large amount of data when we are working with the CSV files. So we have seen various advantages or benefits for using the CSV files. So we must learn how to means use this CSV file for reading and writing purpose. Okay, as I told you that it is just similar to your text file. So in the same way we'll be opening up So for opening up, what we need to do, firstly, if we are opening up a file, as we were using the open function in the text file, similarly we'll be using open function here, but this time the file extension would be .csv. Okay, again the file handle is the same, like we were creating the file handle in order to open a particular file, and the mode that we were specifying earlier also likewise only will be doing it here. Okay, so file handle will open this particular file for us in the write mode. Okay, so actually the open function is going to open this particular file for us in the write mode, and this handle will be used to point out to that particular content or character that we want it to read, right? So this is our file, csv file, student.csv file, and that we have given command to be opened in the read mode through the open function, and this is our file handle. Okay, so it will open a csv file. How do I know that it will open the csv file? Because the extension is .csv. Okay, so we can open, like we have opened the file in the read mode or write mode. Similarly, we can use different modes as we were using in our text mode. Okay, so text files we were using those modes, so that modes are compatible here with the csv modes also, csv files also. Okay, so now the role of the new line argument in opening up the csv files. So if we want to open a particular file, csv file, through this open function, then we will require an additional argument named new line argument. Although it is optional, but this argument is of great importance. Why? Because csv files, they will handle end of the line translation. Okay, so for this type of translation, the main thing is to be noted that it will be according to the operating system on which you are working. Okay, like if I'm working on Windows and my file has to be opened in a different operating system, like it has to be opened up in the Macintosh or Unix or in any other operating system, so there the translation, end of the line translation varies. So why? Because we have different end of the line characters for different types of operating system, so this translation may contradict. So in order to avoid that contradiction, in order to handle this type of problem, we must use different symbols, okay, for different end of the line characters. We means they have been assigned, we must take care of them, of these characters while opening of, or while writing or while reading up the contents of the file. Okay, so now let us start. These things are important, so let me read it from here only. So if you create a csv file on operating system and use it on another, then the end of the line of one operating system will not be treated as end of the line of another operating system. Okay, because the end of the line of Macintosh operating system is /r, and for Unix it is /n, and for Windows it is /r/n. Okay, and for other operating system it is /0. so end of the line for different operating system is different. So when this translation is going on, this thing must be kept in mind, so accordingly we need to set the procedure in the writer or reader function. Fine, so let me continue. Also, if we are if you have given a character like /r in your text string, okay, so if in your text string there is something like /r, so it may contradict with this /r, which is actually required for the end of the line character, fine, in the Macintosh operating system. So in order to suppress this translation, we must use a argument, that is a third argument, and that is a new line argument, and we have to use this new line argument in the open function. Okay, otherwise the /r written in the text part will be taken up as the end of the line character in Macintosh. Okay, Similarly, when we are dealing with Unix, then /n will be treated as the end of the line character in Unix. Okay, so in order to suppress these types of translations, we must use this third argument. Okay, just to suppress the end of the line translation by specifying the third argument of the open function, we must use this. Okay, and new line, and then it must be a null string with no space in the quotes. Okay, so with this writing only, this problem can be resolved. Okay, so when you are creating a file handle to open up a particular CSV file in a particular mode, you must use this third argument, new line, and that too in a means that too with a null string. Okay, so in this way the problem can be dealt very easily. So now how to write the contents in the CSV file? For that we need three different type of functions. We may use different type of function, and these three different functions are like, this is your csv.writer. Actually this is very important function that is returning a writer object, okay, which writes data into the CSV file. Now listen to this very carefully. See, whatever data I am entering inside the file, okay, that has to be in a comma separated value when we are writing it in a CSV file. So who is putting this commas in between data? That is the writer object only. Okay, so this writer object is going to write that delimiter, or we can say the commas or the semicolons or whatever delimiter you are using. That delimiter is being placed by this writer object in the CSV file. Okay, whatever data you will be passing, data will be passed or taken up from the user with the help of WRITERROW or WRITERROWS function, but it will be written inside the CSV file with the help of this writer object only. So writer object is of great importance because it will not write the data that you are supplying through the WRITERROW or WRITERROWS function directly. It will first convert it into delimited form. Okay, like you have written the name of the student, the class of the student, and marks of the student, but in CSV format the data cannot go directly as you are writing, so it has to be separated with the commas, okay, or the semicolons or the pipe. So whatever delimiter you are telling, that delimiter has to put into that data. Okay, so who will put this delimiter inside the given data that you are taking from the WRITERROWS function? The writer object. Okay, so this csv.writer, actually it is a function and that is returning a writer object. Okay, that writer object will ensure that the data written inside the CSV file is in the delimited form. Okay, means in the comma separated form. Fine, so it is very important. This type of question can come in your exam also. What is the importance of the writer object? So for that you need to explain that it converts the given data into the CSV writable delimited form. Okay, and what is this delimited form? Means it will separate the content of the data with the commas or tabs or semicolon, whatever delimiter you are giving. Means with the help of that delimiter the file will be, content will be separated out. Okay, so this task is performed by the writer function, and writer function will use this WRITERROW and WRITERROWS function. Okay, so here he has mentioned get that data, means that writer object gets converted to CSV writable delimited form and then written to the linked CSV file on the disk. This diagram is also explaining the same. The data that is being entered by the user is taken up by the WRITERROW function, but this WRITERROW function will give it to the object. Okay, writer object. That writer object will ultimately write into the CSV file. Okay, so I hope you are clear with the concept. So what are the steps that are required to be written, means the data to be written inside the CSV file? So firstly we need to import the CSV module, then we need to open a file using the file handle, and we will pass a CSV file. And see, the same concept you have to use here, like W is indicating that we are going to open the student.csv file in the write mode, and this write mode is by default telling us that if the file is not existing, it will be created up with the same name, and where it will be created, it will be created in the same folder where the file Python folder is existing. Okay, so this is the file handle. Okay, so now this file has been opened up. We have not used any new line character, but we must use it later. We'll see to it how to add it here. Okay, so here we have seen that we are going to write the name of the writer object. Likewise, we are giving a name to a variable. We can give a name to the writer object also, but in my program I'll be using wo as a writer object. Okay, so that you may recognize that it is your writer object. So I'll be using wo. Okay, so this wo will actually help the writer function to write the data in the CSV file, and this file handle will help this writer function to write the data at a particular place where it should be written. Okay, delimiter is provided, like if you want to, by default the delimiter is comma, and if you want to change the delimiter, so you need to specify that delimiter in the writer function only. So after writing the file handle, if you are writing delimiter is equals to semicolon, so delimiter will be changed to semicolon instead of your comma. Okay, you can also skip this. If you will not specify it, it will take it by default comma, but if you want to change the delimiter, delimiter is actually used to separate the contents of the file. Okay, so this will be separated out with that particular delimiter that you are supplying here. Okay, so after your contents, this command you have given, okay, like this you will be writing. So here the optional parameter delimiter has not been mentioned, so by default it will separate the contents with the comma only. Okay, here he has given you an example, like you can use this pipe as the delimiter. So here by default the delimiter will be comma. Here the delimiter has been specified that the data that is to be written inside the CSV file should be separated with this pipe symbol. I'll show you all when we'll be doing practical. I'll change the delimiter also for your convenience, so that you may understand the concept in a better way. Okay, so now let us move to the next step. So now we have given the command to create the CSV file. Now we are giving the content, mean the data that should be written inside this CSV file, and the name we have taken like student.csv. so this file is to be created, open up in the write mode. Okay, and now we are saying that we are initializing this writer object to take the data from the WRITERROW function. Okay, so this is the writer object, student.writer they have taken, but I'll be taking wo. Okay, so this wo will take my data from the user. Okay, so this is the data that has been entered by the user. Okay, this will be entered inside this WRITERROW. Okay, so WRITERROW will take up the data and it will place it inside the CSV with the help of the writer object. Okay, so actually this is the actual statement that you need to write. So this is your writer object, then the WRITERROW function, then the contents that you want to add. See here what we are trying to do, we are going to create a header. Okay, header for the CSV, like we will enter roll number, so heading will be like column headers we are creating. So roll number, name and marks, these are the three headers. Okay, so these three headers will help the data to be organized in different columns. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you. WRITERROW function will help us to write the data. Okay, so this is a simple program to conclude all what we have read. So actually this program is telling us to create a CSV file to store the data of a student with the roll number, name and marks. Actually we are going to store 5 records. Okay, so for that we'll be having a loop, because we need to store the data of 5 students. Okay, 5 records we want to store, so we will be using a loop like here we have used. So for that for this content it will work for the 5 times. Okay, so how to start with the CSV? So firstly we need to import the CSV, then we will open a file. Name of the file as per your convenience it will be, but the extension will be .csv. Then we will specify in which mode it has to be opened. Okay, so once this file has been opened, we will create a writer object. Okay, so how we create a writer object? Here before equal to it must be written and csv dot writer. Okay, so when you will write csv dot writer, and inside this file handle you will be passing, and here whatever you are writing will be your writer object. So this writer function will use this writer object to write the data using the particular delimiter, okay, into the CSV file. Fine, so this has been initialized. See the data that the user will enter. Okay, like user will enter the roll number, the name and the marks of the student. So we have taken all the data of the student 1, because when the loop will start up it will take up the data for the student 1. So we have taken the roll number in roll number, name in the name, and marks of the student in marks variable. So these variable we have placed inside this list. Okay, so student record is this list and it will hold the record of the one student. Okay, so one student record has been taken up in the form of list, and then it will be written with the help of this write row. Okay, this record that we have created will be written inside this write row. Okay, and this write row will take the help of the writer object. See, it was the writer object, student writer. Okay, so this writer object will take up this data that the user has entered in the form of roll number, name and marks, and it will separate this data with the delimiter. Okay, so here we have not specified any delimiter, so by default the delimiter will be comma. Okay, so the first student's roll number, name and marks has been taken up, and that has been separated by the comma using this particular it is a writer object. Okay, and this write row function will write this data, and this writer object will use the delimiter to separate this data. Okay, what data? Roll number, name and marks. Okay, so once the first record has been written inside the CSV file, the loop will work for the second, third, fourth and fifth. So 5 records will be written up. So likewise you can see. So and see what this was doing, what this line was doing, it was giving heading. Okay, this was to give heading, because the writer object we are using to give heading first, then we will put up the record of 5 students. Okay, so firstly this print will print the the student record 1. Okay, because I is starting from 0, so that is why we have given I plus 1. Okay, so student record 1, so it will get printed, then it will ask the roll number for the first student, then name and roll number, name and marks. Okay, so once you have given, it will ask for the second student also, likewise it will ask for the 5 students, and one by one it will keep on writing the contents in the CSV file. Okay, so once it will be completed, this particular loop will get false, and then the file handle will close that particular file. Okay, I'll show you how to open this file. So once this file will get executed, it will hold the contents inside it. Then I'll show you how to see those contents. Okay, let me define how this write row function will work. Write rows, this was a write row function that was writing the content row by row, means one student record is to be written, then second student record is to be written, then third student record. Okay, but if we want to write the all records together in the CSV file, if your data is not too much lengthy, so for that you need to write the data in one go. Okay, so for writing the data in one go, what you will do, you will use this write rows function. Okay, so nothing much you need to do, you just need to replace this write row with the write rows and remove that particular loop that you have set to get executed a number of times, because it will accept the 5 records at a single time only. So for that you are not supposed to give a for loop to work it for the 5 times. Okay, but one important thing I just want to tell you, that the data that you are entering for different students, like this is the data for the first student, see it is in the form of list. Okay, and this is separated, first student record is separated by the second student with the comma. Okay, so it is a type of nested list. You can see list, this is also a list, the symbol for the list is the square brackets. So a list inside another list means this is the one list, inside it we are having 3 lists because we have entered the record of 3 students. So these are 3 different rows, and these 3 different rows are stored once all together because we have used the WRITERROWS function. So WRITERROWS function will allow you to enter multiple records of the students at one time only, but WRITERROW function will allow you to write the content line by line, means row by row, one at a time. Okay, so we'll be doing the practical of this now only. Okay, so here we have the practical. Okay, so here I'm executing the program for the WRITERROW function. Okay, so WRITERROW is actually helping me to write the content of the child one by one. Okay, line by line. So firstly I have imported the CSV module, then I have opened the student.csv file in the write mode. Here I have taken the the third argument, new line. Okay, we have already discussed the concept of this new line. Okay, if you are not clear with, you can rewind the video and clear your concept. So this is my writer object WO. I told you I'll be using WO. Okay, so WO is my writer object that is going to create the delimiter, put the delimiter inside the file. So here I have mentioned the delimiter as semicolon instead of comma. Okay, so this is my delimiter here. So when I'll be showing you the output of this particular file, you will find a semicolon that is separating the contents of the file. Otherwise it would have been comma. Okay, so this writer object will help me to write the contents of the file in the CSV file, with that will be separated by this colon. Okay, so now this writer object will take up the data with the help of this WRITERROW function, and here I have tried to create the header of the columns because I am going to take 3 inputs from the user. One is your name, then is your roll number, and then is your marks, and that too in the form of list, because I told you that the data inside this function will be in the form of lists. Okay, so this is your header of the first list. Okay, that the list that I am going to create with the help of this WRITERROW function. So here I have taken the first the student final record. SFR is the student final record, because I'll be taking up the records up to your convenience, means I have started up a while loop and it will work until you will say no, I don't want to enter more records. So it will take up the records for different students from you, means I have not defined ki 5 number of records it should take or 10 number of, you will set it yourself how many student record you want to enter. When you will say no, I don't want to enter any more record, it will stop. Okay, otherwise it will continue taking the records or details of the students. Okay, so here I am taking the student name input and roll number, and that I am converting into integer because the number has to be, roll number has to be in integer and the marks has to be in the float. Okay, so here I have taken 3 variables, n is for name, r is for roll number, and m is for marks. So when the user will enter the name, roll number and marks, I will put this take it as a record in the form of list, and I will pass it to the variable sr, which that is going to hold the list of one student. Okay, and this student record will be appended. Okay, for that I am using append function, and this record, one student record, will be appended to the main list. Okay, this is the main list that is going to hold all the records. Every time the first user will enter the record, user will enter the record of the first student, and that will be appended here. Okay, once the one record has been created, it will be appended in the student final record. So this is student final record. Okay, so first student record has been appended. When you will say yes, I want to enter more, you will enter the second student record, and that will get appended to this student final record list. So ultimately we'll be having a nested list that will be having multiple records. Okay, so when you will say no, I don't want to enter more, so it will break, this loop will break, and it will not take your inputs first further. Okay, so once the inputs have been taken, okay, that this writer function, writer object, will write the records that you have entered row by row. Okay, so I is taking up the records from the student final record. So it is having, like, if I have entered 4 records, so it will take 4 lists inside it, nested lists. Okay, so this 4 lists, firstly first list will be given up to write. Okay, because it is a writer row function, it will take one row at a time. Okay, so first row means first student record is given, then the second row, the second record will be given, and it will work until it will keep on supplying the records. Okay, once the record have been written in the CSV file, okay, the file will be closed. Okay, now let us run this particular program. So you can see it is asking me for the name of the student, like the name of the student is Ram. Okay, then it is asking me the roll number is like 1. Okay, marks, like he has scored 78 marks. Again it is asking me whether you want to enter. Yes, I want to enter more records. So it is asking, tell me the roll number, name first. Name is Sham. Okay, then it is asking me for the roll number, so let us say roll number is 2, and the marks of the student, that is, like, he has scored 98 marks. So I don't want to enter further, so I'll put no, and it will come out. Okay, so we have entered the record here for the first student, means for 2 students. Okay, so if you want to see the comma separated file now, so let us open. We know that the name of the file will be student.csv, so let us open this file, and it will be present in the same Python folder where the other files of the Python are residing. So here I'll be searching for that file. Okay, because all files I have done, because it is a CSV file now, so I need it. Like, this is the file we have created, it has been created right now. So when I'll click it open, so you can see the same data I have entered. So this data, Ram 1, he has scored 78 marks, and Sham 2, and he has scored 98 marks. So you can see it is separated by semicolon. Why with semicolon? Because I have given the delimiter as semicolon. I hope it is clear to you. Okay, I hope it is clear, and you are clear with your concepts also. Okay, so now I'll show you the this was your CSV file in the text format. Now if the same file we want to open in the Excel mode, because this file actually will be storing the data in the Excel. So again I'm opening the same file, but now in Excel format I'll be opening it. So all files, and then I'll be going up to this file again, and I'll right click it, and now I will give command to open it in different format in Excel. Okay, so now my file will open up in Excel. Now you see it is coming all together. So how to separate it? For that you need to see it very carefully. We will go in the data tab. Okay, here in data tab we will get an option, get external link. See, it will vary according to your version of the Excel that you are using. I am using Excel 2016, so it is coming like this. And inside this get external data, you need to click it here, and here you will get this from text option. If you are using some other version, you may get this from text option here only, without getting to this particular drop down menu. Okay, so you need to see for it where this option lies. Okay, otherwise you may follow the same steps if your version is matching with me. So I'll click on this get from text option. So here I need to specify the path of my file, that student.csv file I need to specify. So it will be in your C drive. So wherever is your path, mine path is simple. Okay, so I will be able to specify it soon. So here is my file student.csv. Now I will click on the import button. So here it is asking me to delimit it. Okay, so how to delimit it? So here it is already specifying the same. So I need to click on the, here you can see the contents of the file that we have mentioned. This is our header. Okay, so I have told you that heading of this file will be name, roll number and marks. So it is coming here, and the first record was Ram, roll number 178. You can see all records here. 2 records we have mentioned, and they are coming here. Okay, so I'll click on next, and now I want that they should be separated by semicolon. Okay, actually they are separated by semicolon, so I need to specify that delimiter that have used is semicolon. So it will break down the file into different parts. Now you can see initially the file was like this. It was not separated using that delimiter semicolon, and we have used the delimiter semicolon. That is why I am using it here also. Okay, so I have mentioned the semicolon delimiter, and now it has separated on the basis of that delimiter. Okay, then I'll click on the next. Okay, and then click on the finish. So now it is asking me that the data is to be put in the next worksheet, I'm telling it, and then click on OK. Now you can see the data that the user has entered through Python is now coming in Excel in the right format. These are the headers. Now you can see it. Now you will be able to understand it very clearly. See, this is your name, roll number and marks. It is coming like that. Okay, and whatever data we have entered here in through this particular area, that is coming here like this. And you have seen the delimiter that we have used is semicolon. We may change the delimiter also, there is no problem with that also. If you'll mention pipe in the delimiter, then the data will be separated with the pipe delimiter. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. So now let us move to the next part. Okay, so now let us move to the WRITERROWS function. So I have done few changes only in this particular program, the above program. I have removed this loop here because I told you there is no need of using this loop, because the data will be taken up with the WRITERROWS function altogether. So whatever the program was doing in the earlier functionality, it will do the same one. You will get the same type of output, but this time the data has been entered all together with the help of this WRITERROWS. Okay, so I have removed this. I have made this particular line as comment, and indentation I have removed, and this WRITERROW function has been replaced with the WRITERROWS function. Okay, rest everything is same. You can compare this program with the previous program, that is absolutely same. So now let us run this program also. So this was our output of the previous program. So you will see the similar way it will ask us to write the data. So this time I'll be taking roll number, name of the student, like it is RR. Okay, and the roll number it is 3, and then marks he has scored is 87. So now again it will ask me whether you want to enter more. Yes, I want to enter more records. So name of the student is like TT I am giving, roll number is 4. Okay, and then marks, let us say he has scored 76 marks he has scored. I don't want to enter more data, so no. So my file has been created. Again I'll show you the same steps. Okay, so I will go on open, and you know the name of my file is student.csv. Okay, so I'll find it at the last. Okay, I'll click it. Okay, so this is my comma separated file. Okay, actually CSV file here, but we have given the delimiter semicolon. Okay, so so it is taking up the semicolon only. Let me change this delimiter for you so that you may understand that it can be something else also. Okay, so I'm changing it in front of you. So this time I am making it this comma. Okay, let me make it comma for you. Okay, so my data will be separated by this comma next time. So let me run it, save it. So now I'll be entering new data, that is name of the student is this, roll number is 5, marks yes scored 67. Then yes, I want to enter more records. The name of the student is like KK and roll number is 6 and marks CS code is 98. So I don't want to enter more, no. Okay, so this time it will be out of it, right? So now again we'll be going in file tab, then open, after that we'll go in student.dat. I can write it also here, student.csv, it will come here. Okay, then I'll click in open button. Now you see the data has been separated by the commas. Okay, so if I want to see the Excel version of it also, then I'll go in the open module again, and here I will go on all files option, then I'll search for the student.csv. now this time I'll right click it on. Okay, firstly select it and then right click open with Excel. So once this file is opened, see it is already coming in the same format as I wanted. But if it is not coming in the same format as I wanted, so what should be done? It should be means you must follow the steps like data and then this. From the data source you must take up and then you must open up the file, right? Here you must specify the path. Sorry, it should be in the C drive. Then you need to go in the Python folder. There you will specify the student.dat file. Okay, student.dat, not actually CSV file. Then open. Okay, then it will ask you the contents, they will come in this format that you wanted. Okay, so this time it is comma, so it will separate it using comma. So next and then finish. You will get the you want the data in separate sheet. Okay, so this way you will get it. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you. Thank you so much.